Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript party and my buddy Rhett back there, my coding buddy. We just finished our use it or lose it on TDD video, and she got really loud and obnoxious in that video. Um, and I guess I have to acknowledge she's probably not really adding value to the videos, but as a person who's responsible for her well-being and happiness, this does make her life better. And I think that is sort of my responsibility, and I mean, I only have 24 hours in a day, so I sort of have to like find things that I could sort of combine. So unfortunately, I think we're stuck with Rhett. We're stuck with her, although she's being real good right now. Um, but actually, I don't even know if she's on the camera. You can barely see her. Uh, so she is. I always have to worry about her when she gets really quiet because there's a good chance that she will um, do something that she's not supposed to do. I actually moved her whole cage to the right so that she wouldn't chew on our wall because she dug some holes into our drywall. But anyways, yeah, so she's something we have to live with, and she brings a lot of joy and happiness to our lives. So I kind of have to give her a little bit of priority here. So yesterday I did like a bonus. Yesterday and the day before yesterday I did two bonus things that got us forward, and now I'm all done with the unit tests. I have 100% coverage. I got all my little endorphins, happy endorphins um, from getting hundreds all the way across, and so I guess that has played itself out. So now I am going to work on the Cypress. And I will say that the main reason I want to do Cypress is one is I would love to move my career into more of a QA position, developing Cypress solutions. And that's mostly just because I just hate the PR process. I just freaking hate it. Um, and it just like brings me massive misery in my life is and like who needs that? I don't need that. But I don't know I'm going if I'm going to be able to move into um QA. I mean, I realize I'll have to take like a pay cut and move backwards, although yeah. Anyways, yeah, let's not go into that. But the I think it would be very difficult for an organization to justify moving me into a QA role or bringing me on in a QA role. Um, so the other sort of angle I'm taking is like I'm going to start paralegal classes on March 5th. I'm actually going to learn all about bankruptcy and the process of doing bankruptcy, which is really going to be interesting to me. Although bankruptcy is a very federal thing, and I'm really a lot more interested in state sort of things. I'm absolutely fascinated by the way Georgia's legislation system works and the history of how Georgia came along. I mean, Georgia was one of the original 13 colonies, so our whole system is probably closer to how the original founding fathers wanted um, legislation and the government to work. Georgia is probably closer to that than our federal. Like our federal has gone through a lot of mutations over the years, but Georgia is very similar. So I'm absolutely fascinated by the Georgia legal system and all that. But anyway, so now the next step is Cypress, and I want to do Cypress for various reasons. And another reason is I think it makes for some great demos, and I probably would want to once this once we get to the point where we can do some kind of cool stuff. Cypress would probably be the best way for me to generate a little demo um, for that. So it would be a great way to A, demonstrate Cypress and my QA skills, and B, demonstrate this application. So anyway, so first thing to do is I can never remember exactly what the command is, but so I look at my package.json, and I'm fortunate in this project I only have one package. It can be confusing when you have more than one, but I only have one, and I have two choices. I have Cypress open and Cypress run. I believe Cypress run will run um, headless, which basically means that it doesn't need like a human being doesn't need to run it. It can be run in an automatic way. And Cypress has a cool feature in which it will take pictures of its results. So that is really neat. But so I'm going to say npm run and Cypress and open. And like the reason I show this is because I think that this is the piece that people don't show. So like you learn all the ins and outs of something, and no one ever showed you how to get started. And I think that that is always frustrating when you like you know exactly what you want to do. You've watched a bunch of videos. You're like, okay, I'm going to go do it, and then you don't realize, oh, I don't know how to even get started. Um, but so npm run Cypress open, and if I remember correctly, it's been a minute, but it'll actually open up a whole Cypress system for me. And then what I'll have to do is actually go in. I'll have to answer some questions or something, and then I'll go in and tell it to actually execute the suite. I believe what happens with Cypress Run is it just does it. So it looks like I have two things. IE testing and component testing, and I have not configured. I've configured this one. I have not configured this one. It's been like probably 3 weeks since I did this, so I'm sort of re-remembering how to do this. So I'm going to click on that, and then lets me choose Chrome, Edge, or Electron. I think these versions really matter with Chrome and Edge. The whole point I think of Electron is not to be worried about the version, because Electron basically will have a browser built into it, and that browser stays the same over time. So like if you're trying to build like an executable application for people to run, Electron's a really good. I believe Electron's probably a very, very good solution for that, because you can control the version of Node and the version of the browser that you're using, that the user is going to use. Because the big problem is a lot of times when you build web applications, users will end up installing their own browser and then using their browser. Well, Electron lets you control which version of the browser is. So if there is some sort of upgrade or something that breaks your code, you still have that old version. Now that we're learning in my other voice API, or yeah, I think it's called voice API. We're learning in that isn't quite 100% bulletproof, because a lot of web behavior is OS dependent, and so you still have that to deal with. But anyways, so then I guess I click that. All you can do is hide it. You can't double click on it, and then click the green start. I don't think I interviewed with the company, but I once interviewed or talked to a recruiter about a job with this Cypress organization. I don't think I ever got past the recruiter though. I don't know what the problem was. I have just a vague memory of it. That has happened like thousands and thousands of times with thousands of organizations. It's very difficult. This is where personalize your browser inspired by nature, artist collections, and more. And then I guess I can say got it, which is like cancel, and customize Chrome, which I guess would mean to do this. So got it is what I want. So yes, okay. So the last time I updated this was 7 weeks ago. It doesn't mean that I ran it last. I apparently did not store that. So let's just first double check, because we're going to need a new spec, and I don't think I've ever built a new spec. I think I might have deleted some specs. This spec should work though, because I think all it does is check to see that this thing exists. And so I think these green, oh, that's interesting. So then it looked like this, and then I guess this is what it looked. Expected canvas. So that's good. So now what I would like to do is add a second one called component. And I don't really understand this stuff. I'm not comfortable enough in this at this point to let's see what I don't think I'm comfortable enough at this point to like dig into that component side. I think I'm still at this side. Now the component specs might make more sense for me, but I don't even know what it does. I probably need to watch a few videos and all that. And I'm gonna say I'm just gonna try to just bumble my way through this. I'm gonna say new spec, and then what I'm gonna do is I guess I want to just create new spec. I don't even know. And so here's where it would be nice to if to have this in a different commit, so I could just see what all it changed. Right now, this is gonna get buried into a bunch of stuff, but I don't think I'm there yet. I think I'm to the point where I'm still learning, and I don't know enough for it to even stick or to make good decisions or to even understand what I'm reading. So I think it makes more sense for me just to just bumble my way through this thing. At the end of it, of course, I won't have learned a lot, but I don't think I know enough to learn a lot. So, and that you really do have to manage the way you learn things. But I want to basically test this component, and it's called viz component. So I don't want to name this something as generic as spec. I think I want to name it viz. So, and I definitely have the deep feeling at this point that I'm misusing this tool. That I should be over in the components section right now, and I'm doing something wrong. I'm definitely raw at this, and that's just the way it is. And this is probably like if I did this and I kind of play around with this stuff for like another 3 or 4 weeks, then I could probably take a course on Cypress. And if I took a course on Cypress, it would probably be incredibly, I could learn a ton. Because first thing I would learn is, oh, okay, you're doing this, that, this, and that the wrong way. And this is the right way. And since I have a wrong way and learning the right way, it'll be a lot easier to remember the right way. But I would have to be open-minded, and then I would have to do an evaluation that the person who's teaching me is actually knows what they're talking about, because that's a real problem. Is a lot of these people just teach out of a book and they don't actually understand things, or the people that have, or they have some other agenda. Like really they would like you to create a big mess so that you hire them in the future to do their stuff. But anyways, I'm going to say correct viz.cy, which I guess is for Cypress, .ts, which is for TypeScript. And I'm going to put it in my E to E folder, apparently. So I'm just going to say create this spec, and then it's sort of giving me an example, and all it does is visit this. And then I don't really want to run it or create another one, but let's go ahead and run it. So now my take on this is that at this point I should go to, and this is pretty smart of them, right? Because now they get some sort of indication of how many people are using this and all that. So that is smart. Like I don't really have a good indication of how many people watch these videos. I have a pretty good indications of what YouTube says, but who knows? Who knows if that's true or not? So now I want to go into my Cypress. It said it created something in here, Cypress, and E to E, and viz.cy. And so describe template spec. Now let's see, how did I do the other one? Home page. Okay, so viz component. Viz component. And then, so obviously my IDE doesn't know what this CY is. And I don't really know enough about IDEs to know what I should do here. that would be like another great course to take, is something on Visual Studio Code. The problem with that though is that when you do something like with anything to do with Microsoft Visual, I mean this Visual Studio Code, it changes so fast that you find yourself like in weeks behind again, maybe months. So it's just like, I don't know, I have a hard time dedicating too much of my brain process into learning how to do things in this, but it might be late. So now it's coming to mine, and now what we want in my home, I do like, yeah, Rhett, yeah. Hi there, how are you? Yeah, Rhett, yeah. All right, so now we just check to see if Canvas exists, but Canvas is not the only thing we want to check, right? What we want to check is, I don't know, oh, this, but we want this other one back here. I want this one, and I want to see if this exists. What is this? And I don't even know if this is going to work right. It's very possible. So I want to see if my app is on there. So I think, and you know, I'm just kind of making this shit up as I go, right? I don't really know. I think this does like a DOM set check, and I think appviz is the name of this component. And so like, and then if you look at this, it's like, see how Canvas, this is an appviz custom component. See, this is Canvas. Canvas is not a custom component. Canvas is a component that is defined in the spec of browser spec. Now, browser spec, one of the many browser specs. I don't know which browser spec it's defined in, but it is defined in a browser spec. AppViz is not defined in browser spec, so I'm making an assumption that it's just going to scan the DOM, and it's going to look for anything that is of type that. So I think I could look for div, I could look for body, I could look for anything in there. Now, if we look inside of our AppViz, then there's also a canvas. So it might make sense to also see if I can say get appviz.get canvas, maybe that's how you would do that. Like, I'm literally just making that up, but let's, first things first, let's save. Let's go back to this. No, yeah, I think we wanted to go back to that, and then this. Yeah, I like this view. So now we hit save, and I don't know if it passed or not. I guess we have to click over here. So that passed. Expected app viz to exist in DOM. So now I'm just guessing that you chain these things. Now, I remember when this whole concept of chaining first came out, or at least for me, the first time I was ever exposed to it was with this library called jQuery. And oh my God, did this just concept of adding a dot and another function, that was so hard to get in my head. And I remember there was a video that I watched on YouTube, and there was like a 12-year-old kid, and he was explaining like how amazing jQuery is because of this chaining concept. And he was just explaining it, and was explaining it in such a like a basic, as matter of fact sort of basic way, that it was just like snapped. So like I had gone like a whole year. There's been certain things that just took forever for me to, that once they snapped, it was simple. It was super simple, but like it took a long time for it to snap. And this chaining was one of those things. So let's see if I can just say get. Canvas. I don't know. I don't know if this is a thing. I don't know if it's legal, if it's not legal. Let's see. Canvas and one more. Yeah, so that is how you do that. And it shows us that it got this, and then it got that, and then it got that. I don't know what the timing implications are on this. I don't know how long it waits, right? I am an absolute noob on this. So, and I don't know if this assigns something, right? Like, can I say const viz equals, I'm trying to push for them to do this at my job. I feel like that would be an absolute win-win for Cypress to be able to say, hey, the state of Georgia legislation uses our tool. Let's see, const. And, you know, it would be good for them. It would be good for me. And let's see, can I just say viz.get? And I do think a lot of people get like sort of a like, oh no, this is how it should be. No, it's just like this, right? Like that's just how it is. It's not the right way or the wrong way. It's just how it is. And I'm just lucky that the folks at Cypress, the geniuses at Cypress, sort of did it in a way that sort of is in sync with the way I view the world. But this is not the only way, and this is not necessarily the right way or the wrong way. It's just one way. So let's see if that is a positive. So I like that. I do like that better. And I think I would prefer to sort of separate this out. Like, where we go. Variables. And I would not, like, this is just for me to sort of get, like, kind of, I'm trying to organize things in my brain. So I'm putting these comments, and I would not always do it this way, but, you know, you needed some time assertions. I think that one is, and so I think that should exist is an assertion. And I do like that. I don't know why. It would be nice to fix that. And it would be, that's like something I'm not good at. So let's go to ChatGPT and see if it can give me an obvious fix. Oh, that's on a different monitor. And that is actually my last video. So that tricked me. So let's kill that. Let's just do this. Wow. So let's not do that. I've never seen that. That is really neat. Okay. You don't see new things very often. Well, I guess I see something new every day. But ChatGPT. So I am editing a Cypress script in VSS, Visual Studio, VSC, Visual Studio Code. And the CY has a red underscore. Error. Getting a phone call. Oh, it's my son. So it looks like it thinks I'm missing my. So you know what? I wasn't having this problem before, but then my code was all screwed up. For I had the same issue. I had this issue, but in Jasmine, Karma Jasmine, and I don't know where I'd rather be broken, in Karma Jasmine or in Cypress. But it looks like, um, yeah. Let's go look at our TS configs. That JSON. Compiler options. So I do not have this in my compiler options. I don't have it types at all. I have to admit, I'm a little bit scared to do this because I don't want to. Yeah, I would rather do this in a separate commit. Try to fix this in a different commit. But I guess we might as well look over it. Okay, then apparently you have to restart, and then. Oh, I wonder if that. I like that solution. So I'm going to hit Alt and back so I can hopefully get back. So it's saying that I could add this import to the top of my test file. See if that works. I would rather have a code fix than a app fix. That is not working. Yeah, that didn't work. So, and I never, if something doesn't work, I don't leave it in. Check the output panel. Okay, so anyways, I probably will go back and try to fix this over the next couple weeks. But I would rather, if I'm going to fix it, I'd rather fix it in its own commit so that I can roll back out of it. I don't want to mix a fix in like this with that. But I will say that we have accomplished the mission, and the mission was to get a new test for Cypress. So this is our Cypress test, and I don't know what happens if you kill this. I know that not a good idea with unit tests. Things just get wacky. So I'm going to start it up again and just go through the process. And then I wonder what my 4 problems are. Look, can you imagine if you only had 4 problems? Cannot find name, cannot find name. Yes, that is a problem, but it's not high on my priority lists. Okay, so we run it again. I can't tell you how many times I have been editing something and everything seemed fine, and then the very next time I started it, it was broken. And so now I try to always just run through things. Runs specs with, and I'm the king of the world. Woo! Woo! What do you think, Rhett? We did it. We are now Cypress experts. No, just kidding. I definitely am very excited about learning this, and I've been like scheming for like 2 solid weeks of how I can sort of just waiting for my opportunity to say, hey, why don't we try Cypress? I think the biggest so the biggest thing that makes sort of pushing Cypress hard is like they just like the existing QA fall in love with they absolutely fall in love with the systems where it just tracks what you do and remembers what you do in your, you know, like you can click in and then you do it, and it creates scripts behind the scenes. Um, so trying to convince them to do a code solution like this is hard. Um, but the thing, I think that actually having, like, if you have a suite of existing Cypress functions and like you know, a technical QA, like someone who is a QA that's very technically minded, is fairly easy to mimic other tests in order to achieve your goals as long as you have a reference test. So I feel like if I can convince them to do what they call a spike story to get this in here, and then I can give a set of basic tests that do the things that we want it to do, that that QA, our QA professionals will be happy to then, and they'll be mentally energized by the concept of writing their own scripts to do stuff as opposed to trying to use like a tool that makes scripts for them. Um, it's just like an empowering technique, or an empowering situation. But anyways, I think we are ready to do a commit at this point. So the let's see, where are we on time? We're at 31 minutes. I think that's probably a decent time for a full thing. So tomorrow, basically, I was kind of hoping to get started on trying to animate this one, but I think tomorrow I'm just going to go through all of these things, make sure there's nothing in there that's stupid, and then commit it as one big commit. I rarely ever do one big commits. And so bright and early on Monday, we'll get to start trying to animate this thing. I don't, you know, that unit test that we did on animations yesterday sort of refreshed my mind on how the whole thing works and all that. So it doesn't seem like it should be very hard. And that is probably another big win for unit tests, is that you can kind of go look at the unit test and figure out, oh, okay, this is how this thing's supposed to work. So anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.